Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to crop and mask a raster using R. On this channel, we make videos every single week on how to work with spatial data and GIS data using R programming. So if you're new to this field, feel free to subscribe. If you want something more complete, we've also developed a 3-hour course that provides you with all the fundamentals on how to get started with spatial data in an R environment. We provide you with all the code, all the data, and real-world examples. We've also created a section where you can create maps of your data and plots of your data, and this will allow you to show off everything that you've worked on in your job or your research. The link for all of this is in the comment section below, so let me know what you think. But anyways, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is import the libraries that we need. We need 2 libraries to crop rasters. We need the Terra library, and we need the SF library. And SF stands for spatial features. So let's run these lines of code, and we've imported our libraries. So there's a couple basic things that we need to do to crop a raster. The first thing we need to do is obviously import our raster. So I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call it sample raster. And we're going to use a function called rast to import our raster. So this is what the function looks like. And in the quotation marks, I'm going to put the file path to where my raster is saved. Okay, so that's where my raster is saved. I just copied the file path in there between the quotation marks, and I ran it. So no errors, which means my raster was imported correctly. Let's plot it and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what the raster looks like. This is a map of land surface temperature in Washington, so it's quite a pretty raster to look at. So the next thing we need to do is import the shapefile. I'm going to crop my raster using a shapefile. So let's create a new variable. And we're going to use a function called st_read. That's from the SF library. And again, we're going to put in quotation marks, and in the quotation marks, provide a link to where your shapefile is saved. Okay, so here's the path for my shapefile. I'm going to run that. And again, no errors. We got this message just stating that we have a shapefile with one feature. I'll plot it for you so that you see what it looks like. Sample shapefile. It's just a circle. So it's very straightforward. A couple important things to note here. The coordinate reference system for my shapefile and my raster already match. If yours don't match, make sure that you reproject them or create a new shapefile with the correct projection. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Okay, so now we have our raster and our shapefile. We only need to do a couple more things to crop the raster. So I'm going to create a variable called Washington cropped. And we're going to use the function called crop. That's from the Terra library. It's for cropping rasters. And we're going to input the name of the raster that we want to crop first. So we know we want to crop sample raster. And the next thing we're going to do is input the name of the shapefile that we're going to use to crop the raster. So sample shapefile. Let's run that. And we'll plot it as well. Washington cropped. Okay, so it may be a little hard to tell, but this is a zoomed in version of the sample raster. It's cropped. It looks a lot smaller. So I'll show you really quickly. So we have plot sample raster. This was the first one that we imported. So that's what it looks like. And then let's plot Washington cropped. So you can see it's zoomed in now. So we cropped it correctly, it looks good. There's one other thing that you can do. So we know that we imported a shapefile, but it cropped to a circle. That's because when you use the crop function, it's only going to crop to the min and max values. It's not going to crop to the shape. A raster will only ever crop to a square or rectangular shape. So if you want to see a circular raster or a raster that matches the shape of your shapefile, you need to use the mask function. So I want the raster to look like a circle. So we're going to use a mask function. I'm going to create a new variable called Washington masked. And then the function is just called mask. We're going to input the name of the raster that we want to mask out. And then again, the shapefile that we want to use as our mask. This function will essentially hide everything that exceeds the bounds of your shapefile. Anything that goes outside of the circle will be masked, it'll be hidden. So let's run that. So we ran that, and now we can plot it one more time and see what it looks like. There you go. So this is how you crop and mask a raster. You can see that everything has been hidden outside of that circle. It's a really cool looking plot. And this is just one of the many things you can do in R. And again, if you want a more complete overview, I have lots of free content on my channel. And if you want a singular deep dive course, we have a link to that as well. Good luck and thanks for watching.